Hey, what's up? This is Dillio coming to you again, representing DillioT2K.com. I got another video tutorial for you, and this is a FL Studio video tutorial. In this scenario, what I want to do is show you how to record a hardware synthesizer into FL Studio. First, we're going to divide this into two things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to rewire up a MIDI routing to the hardware. And the second thing is we're going to actually set up an audio track to record the sound that we produce with it and turn it into an audio loop. All right? So the first thing you want to do is add a channel by hitting the plus symbol, and we're going to go to MIDI out. And then we're going to go options and MIDI. So as you can see, I got a lot of MIDI outputs right here, but I know that the Moog Model D synthesizer that I have hooked up, not Moog, but Behringer Model D, is hooked up to the MIDI Sport 2x2 anniversary. This has two MIDI outputs on there. And as you can see, this one's on port 0. And that's important to keep in track of when you're dealing with MIDI devices in the MIDI environment with FL Studio. And then I have port 1, which is the one I know that will connect to the Model D. All right. So now that that's hooked up, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the MIDI out, and I'm going to select 1. So let's check this out. I'm using my keyboard to trigger a note. As you can see, I'm blinking but not getting any sound. But when I go to 1, now we have... we have some sounds there, and we're triggering this to MIDI. So what you're hearing is a hardware synthesizer, and now we can just add notes. So now I can go to the piano roll, and I can just click some notes in. Now we got some sounds going. And the thing is it may sound a lot louder. I'm going to bring that down in the mix just a little bit. And now you can create your own melodies. And what I'm doing is just clicking some melody notes in there, just like that. It's all being triggered in real time. No plugins except for the drums. We can make it fast. So I just did some little tweaking with the synthesizer. So now we got our loop. We got the synthesizer playing with the beat. Everything's in sync. So now what we want to do is now we want to record, right? We'll record that. So say if you have to take this session somewhere else, and if they don't have this set up and everything hooked up, you know, it's going to be a lot of work just to get it MIDI'd up and hooked up. So another thing. So now what we want to do is preserve what we did with the Model D and make it a bass line. So now what we got to do is come to the mixer. So here's the mixer right here. And in this situation right here with the mixer, as I try to drag it out, bring it to size, is that I want to like select a random channel, and I'm just going to create an input. So I select 10, and then I know that the Model D is coming into input 4 of my interface. Now, not all interfaces are created the same. Some interfaces have 2 inputs, some interfaces have 4. So it's very important to, once you have it hooked up, to document and keep track of where you have it hooked up so that you can select it easily. Like I know that my voice processor is on input 7 and 8 on my audio interface. And I know that the Behringer Model D that I have is on input 4. So now that I selected channel 10, what I'm going to do is select mic line input 4. So you got stereo inputs here, and then you got mono. Well, I'm sorry, mono's here. Stereo there. This is a mono system, or a mono instrument. Hit mic line 4, and what you're going to do is you're going to hear it both go to the interface and come out on this channel, and you're going to hear it come from the direct feed that I got to the recording. Now that could cause a little error. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the actual input that you were hearing first, and play back the digitized version from the FL Studio. Now, the one thing I want to keep in mind is that I have a low buffer setting, so it enables it to sound really good as far as without cracking. I got a pretty decent power size computer and I have a low buffer, so when I play it, it doesn't sound too offbeat. And one thing to keep in mind is that now I can add, you know, like different reverbs and different things like that, just to have some fun with it and to make it more flavorful. So, you know, so like in this situation right here, I could add like a reverb too. Now we're going to hear reverb on that synth. So that sounds pretty cool. Now, again, if I were to mute that and just play the regular input, you wouldn't hear that reverb on there until I process it in FL Studio and then listen to the result from there. So that's something to keep track of. So now we want to record it. So what I do now is I will dislabel that loop record so we don't overdub our recording. I'm going to right click on the record button and unclick notes and change it to audio. This makes sure that I record audio only and not notes, so that I don't drop in some erroneous MIDI data from some device that's going crazy there. So with that being said, we're going to hit record and hit play. And okay, so that's in there. So if we go to the playlist right now, we should have an audio clip, which is right here. And that audio clip is also represented here as well. So that's the recorded version of what we just did with reverb added from the reverb plugin. And now I could just click that right there. I can turn this off because we don't want to keep triggering the device once we have it recorded, or you're going to get kind of a double flames effect, which you don't want. So now I have that there. So now it's in the mix. Has reverb in it, all that. You can add normalize. Let's see what happens when we reverse it, you know. And now I like to do a trick where I right click, make sure it cuts itself to the overlay. Add some extra notes there. Solo it out, and here's the bass line by itself. And that's coming in pretty clean. All right, so I hope that answers your question as far as how to record hardware synthesizer devices to go for keyboards or any kind of instruments you want. We showed you how to send MIDI to it, and then we also showed you how to record the audio from it and then bring it into your pattern, and then you could create songs from that and create great tracks. So if you like this type of content, let me know in the description below, or I'm sorry, in the comments below. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, help me get this channel growing. And if you got any questions, DM me on Instagram, send me a message on the email, and all that good stuff. All the information is in the description below. I'll see you guys.
Dillio on the track.